So I'm at my sewing machine and I have my piece here with the zipper, and basically we've already pinned this down on this side, and so I'm going to sew a straight line down here. So I'm just going to place this here, and I'm using my regular foot. I'm not using like a special zipper foot or anything like that, and I'm going to try my best to center it, and I am just going to make a straight stitch all the way down. I'm coming towards the zipper here, so what I'm going to do is sort of just unzip this so that it goes past my foot. It goes past my foot, and then I'm going to finish off this stitch. And that sort of kind of went a little askew, but that's fine. Unpin all of these pieces here, and now what we're going to do is just going to fold this over like this. So this is how the zipper looks when you unfold it here. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like have this piece, this is where it's what we just sewed, we're going to kind of flatten it out a bit all down the zipper, and then over here, like this part here, because if you feel it, that's where the zipper is on the other side. We're gonna just do a straight stitch down just to make this really nice and flushed and attached to the zipper. So where my nail is moving, that is where we're going to do our stitch, like our straight stitch all the way down, and then that side should be done. So I'm going to feed this in to my sewing machine here, and I'm going to try my best to make a really straight stitch all the way down. And I think certain places, just to keep it, you know, straight, I am going to pin it, and I'll unpin it as I, you know, as I work my way down. So I think I kind of a little messed up over here, but that is okay. I think I like folded it a little too much on that side, but I'm going to work with it because, you know, I don't want to really undo this, and besides that fact, it's going to be fine. That is going to be covered up anyway by that little piece of fabric that goes like this, so we're not going to see it. I have a loose strand over here. I don't know where this piece of thread came from. I'm just going to pull that off. But yeah, so that is basically this pouch here. I think there's a loose strand somewhere over here. I'm just going to pull it on the back. So yeah, so that is that side of the zipper, and we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. So I'm going to pin this, line it up with the other one. I'm going to pin it here like that, and we're going to sew it down like we did the other one. So let me put this like this so I can see. Going to pin it. I'm going to try to line it up with a lining because the canvas actually goes like a little overhang. And I'm going to pin this on this side because I am going to sew it on this side. why it's curved, but that should be about right. And we're going to, I'm trying to figure out which direction I should sew it in, but I think I'm going to sew it like this so that I can, ow, I just pricked myself, so that I can actually see like this, the track. I'm going to feed this into my machine now, and we're basically going to do the same thing. We're just going to make a straight stitch all the way down, and then we're going to fold it over and do another straight stitch all the way down. That's the best that I can do right now. The zipper is a little tricky. It's just, you know, try your best to sew it. So I'm going to show you. We're just going to fold this over, make sure that it's okay. And again, we're going to straighten it and then do another stitch straight down just like this one. So I'm going to just try my best to straighten this as much as possible, and then pin it down and sew that stitch. And there it is. So that is the top piece with the zipper. So we have the zipper here, and it opens up like that. And our next part will be to kind of make the little those little pieces that kind of go like that. So we're gonna make a piece that goes like that on this side, and then another one. So I'm gonna have to cut up some fabric to go on this side, and we're gonna just stitch those down here, like, you know, across, so that it adheres to it. And then once we do that, we're gonna start putting together our pouch. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna show you how to do that part, and then I'm gonna show you how to make one of the little pulls, the zipper pulls. And then once we have all of our little pieces, we are going to assemble the entire pouch. So I'm gonna go and grab some fabric, because I didn't pre-cut the portions that go here, and I will be right back. Okay, so I have some pieces here. This piece right here is going to be our little zipper pull. So we're going to make that, and I'm going to show you how to make that. And then I have two sets of this piece here. So I have two pieces of the canvas and two pieces of the lining. So I'm going to get my zipper back here, and this is the head of it. So you just want to make sure that the pieces are long enough just to go over the zipper, like the width of the zipper. And so that's cool there, and this one is good here. and I am going to show you how we're going to sew these up first. So let's do the zippers first. We are basically going to sew them, we're going to face them, face to face, so we want this face to show, so we're going to flip it over and we're going to sew only the edges here. So this edge here and this edge here. We're going to leave the two top and bottom parts open because we're going to inside out it. And so we're going to do the same thing for this one. We're going to line them like this. So you're basically flipping your pattern over so that it's facing the canvas, and we're going to sew down here and down here, leaving the tops open. We're going to do that for both, and once we have both of them sewn, we're going to inside out them. Is that even the right term, inside out them? But we're going to do that. So I'm going to do that. Again, I'm still using my regular foot. We're not going to switch to that yet. That's like the last part, like the last part that we're going to switch to that foot. So just going to line them up here, and I'm just going to do a nice straight stitch down both sides. It's really that simple. I also want to mention that I've been starting all of my stitches with a back stitch, and you will want to do that when you start any stitch. You know, you start it, and then I have this little button here where I push it so that it back stitches, and that just makes sure that the stitch will stay in place. So if you saw how it went backwards, that is a back stitch. So I'm going to just literally just turn it over, do the exact same thing on the other side. So that's that one, and since I'm here, I'm going to do the same for the other one. So those are those two, and now for the pull, we're going to do basically the same thing. So you have this one piece here. I can get it in frame. You have this one piece here, and this is the pattern in front, so we're just going to fold it in half. That's basically what we're going to do, and we're going to stitch this close, and then we're going to, of course, inside out it. So I'm going to do that here so that I can just have all of them stitched, and then I can kind of reverse them all at the same time. So these are our pieces. We have the two bands, and then we have the piece that's going to be our pull. I am just going to trim off all of these little hang threads here. Now if you want, you can really carefully trim off the excess fabric on this side and this side. So I'm gonna just trim off as close to my stitch as possible without trimming the actual stitch. So that way it's a little less bulk when we reverse the fabric. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Flying out the window, driving faster because you're able. Slow down, slow down, slow down. And now we are going to reverse them. So these might be the easiest to reverse. You're just gonna flip it and kind of push it through the fabric here. So now you have this nice piece here. Kind of flatten it out a little bit. Just have that really nice seam on the sides there. So I'm going to do that for this one as well. So we got those two. And then this one's a little bit tricky because it's a bit smaller, so I tend to just get a pencil or pen, something to help push it through. And we should have like a thinner piece here. And this will be your little pull. So when we sew it in with everything else, we're just going to fold it like that. And then we're going to sew it in like that so that it little sticks out here and it's a little zipper pull. So those are the last few pieces that we need to create in order to make our pouch. I am going to go ahead and get my zipper again. And just show you what we have to do with the ends here. So these are the ends. One of these pieces will be on one end here. So like this one's going to be on this end. I'm actually going to cover that little stopper there, right? So that's going to be there. And then the other one is going to be on the other end, which hopefully you can see right here. This is going to be on this end here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pin them down because we're going to actually sew them down to the zipper. So we are going to sew them down like this. So I'm going to put this one here. And I'm going to put this one over here. Oops. Because what we're going to do is, if I can get it straight, we're going to stitch like literally right over the zipper, and we're going to stitch over here over the zipper as well. So I'm going to do that on the other side too. So that way when I go to my sewing machine, I can do both. So I am going to now bring my sewing machine here, and we're going to do a straight stitch down this way and a straight stitch down this way. So I broke my needle because I went through this part here, which I already covered it, but it's like a piece of metal. So be careful when you're going to sew through the zipper part not to hit that metal with your needle, or else it'll break it. Well, it bent mine. It didn't break it, but it bent it. So I finished this stitch off camera. So that's how it should look. Should be attached just like that. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, and luckily there's no really big metal part there, so I'm good. But just, you know, for you all, just to be aware, not to sew through that little metal part. The actual zipper will sew through just fine, just that metal part, the needle just kind of hit it and it went poof. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and sew this up now. And I'm actually going to put a pin there because I want my zipper pieces to actually be like together a little bit more when I go and sew that stitch there. So I'm going to do that first. So that's that piece, and now I can do this last part here, which is awesome because I think I'm running out of back stitch thread. So let's see if I can get just this back piece sewn before I have to add some more thread to my machine. And yeah, there goes your zipper. Fun. So these pieces here, when we put our pouch, you know, when we put up our pouch, they're going to be the little decorative pieces that you see on the edge here. Hopefully they'll be the decorative pieces that you see on the edge there. I may have done it a little too long, but we'll see. Again, I don't really remember how I did anything, so, but you still need those pieces there, but this might be a little bit too long for the top. So in that case, we might have to shorten it a little bit, but I will figure that out once I do the next step, which is putting my entire pouch together. And so if I grab all of these pieces here, I will figure that out. Yeah. So this is the front, so this would have to be, we're going to have to sew it like that, and so this is actually going to be sewn, this is the tricky part, like this. So the zipper is going to come all the way down there, so obviously that's a little too long. So now that I'm looking at it, I'm actually going to have to move these guys up further. So I think a 14-inch zipper is what I'm using right now. It's a little too long for this smaller pouch. For the bigger pouch, this would have worked out fine. So these are my mistakes. So I'm just gonna have to just undo the threads, the stitching here. Hopefully you watched this entire tutorial video before you started yours, so you can just, you know, avoid all of my mistakes. But yeah, so since I'm doing a small one, that's going to be a little too small because this is the center already, and we want the zipper to actually start closer to these to like the center part, so that it overhangs just a little bit off the side. So I'm gonna have to move this entire piece up. Same with this one, and then just chop off the end. So yeah, so what I think I'm going to do is I am going to probably center this closer to this side and then chop it off on this side, and then redo the this piece over here on the top of the zipper, because I feel like that would be better than to having to go through this piece again. So I have to figure out how long I want it to be on the side here, and I'm kind of eyeballing it by looking at my bigger pouch, and it seems like this decorative piece comes up to where this first pocket is. So I'm gonna have to, if it's like somewhere around there, then the center will have to start here somewhere. Like it'll have to start there somewhere. So if I can get a pencil and just, I know that the center has to start somewhere around there. So that means the center over here, the end over here will be around here. And so I have to cut, I'll just line these two up. Let's see. And so I would have to cut off my zipper over here, and then the actual piece will have to be here. So I'm going to, let's see if you can see that. I'm going to have to mark it here because this is where I know I have to put this piece again, and I'll mark it over here. That way it's even, and then I will have to cut off like all of this right here. So I'm going to have to move this piece to over here. So that means the zipper has to come even further down so I can sew that on this, and then I can trim the zipper off right here. And that should be fine for my little pouch here. No. That way, when I put it together, it goes like that, because then we do have this end piece that will fill in the gaps, like the rest of the gap. See how far up that goes? That goes all the way up there, and this will come all the way down as well. So I guess 17 inches long is a little too long, but the good thing about it is that you can always just trim it to get it to fit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera because it'll be easier and quicker for me to do it. Again, hopefully you watch this through before you start yours so that you know not to do that mistake. But it's basically, I'm just going to unstitch this little piece here, and I'm going to restitch it to where I marked it off, and then I'm going to cut off the excess of the zipper, and that's about it. It's going to when I come back, it's going to look like I did it perfectly the first time. Yeah.